in a middle school full of bullies, insane teachers, and gross school lunches. Ned Bigby, that's me, and my two best friends try to do the impossible. Create a guide that will help you survive school.
It's December 2022, and we will soon be going into 2023. That means that there's only 1 year left till Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide hits the big 2-0. So, forgetting the fact that I'm getting really old, and this show is also getting old with me, Ned's Declassified is a show about a guy in middle school and his two friends, one being a guy and one being a girl. They jog down their experiences being middle schoolers and the stuff that they have to deal with in middle school. Now, this is a Nickelodeon show, so it's extremely exaggerated. There's a lot of wacky stuff. Even had a Fairly Odd Parents pseudo crossover, even though it wasn't really. It was a very zany show. It was your typical 2000 sitcom. It was like The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, or any of those Nickelodeon Disney sitcoms, where it's like taking real-life situations, but putting an absurdist, exaggerated twist to it. And from what I remember of watching the show when I was really young, about to go into middle school myself, I remember liking it. It was a pretty good show. Well, when it was coming to an end, as all good things do, people speculated that it was going to get a continuation, that being following Ned as he goes into high school. But apparently, even though this was in consideration, the actors decided to move on, go their separate ways, do their own things, and eventually Ned would be forgotten about. I wouldn't remember Ned's Declassified all the way up until, I want to say, 2017, maybe 2018, when Monkey Jones did Monkey Jones Declassified whatever survival guide, where he would do the same thing, but he would put a twist on it for it being edgy, absurdist, real-world concepts like Sharia law or school shootings. It was a very dark take on Ned's Declassified, but it showed that even though it was near 20 years later, people still remembered and loved this show. Well, recently on the TikTok of the stars of Ned's Declassified, there has been hints that there may be a pseudo-continuation of Ned's Declassified. Now, as far as I'm aware of, this wouldn't be in character. It would be a podcast that the actors are doing, involving talking about their real-world issues and their real-life struggles going into adulthood. And as someone who liked the show, I think that this could be interesting. I think at its worst, it's just going to be a generic podcast like everyone does. I'm kinda used to this by now, but I think that at its best, it could be a good reflection at some behind-the-scenes issues with Ned's Declassified, the way that the actors handled the fallout of the show ending, and if they ever felt like continuing it. Maybe down the line this podcast might lead to an actual revival, and if I were to do an actual revival at this point because of how old the actors are getting, I would say a college survival guide. They're not quite at the age yet to where we would need to have them have kids and do an elementary school survival guide. I think that right now, if they want to do a college survival guide, it could totally happen. I know they don't look like college students, but I've believed crazier when it comes to actors playing younger characters. So, this podcast might be happening. It's being teased right now. If there's any news about it, I'll tell you. If it comes out, I'll watch it and tell you. But until then, I love Ned's Declassified. It was part of my childhood, and I'm glad to hear that it might be coming back in some way or form.